If this movie moved you, stop seeing movies altogether.
Don't ever go back to the theater.
An annoying nightmare of sound and sight that almost drove me from the theater. This film is more chopped up than vegetables in a Benihana.
I mean,
what a reference.
pretty apt description.
Man.
Gag me with a giant MTV spoon. This is like watching MTV for 3 hours without a break. If you like that sort of thing, then you can go see this movie.
What's an MTV
What's
spoon?
an MTV spoon? I want to know.
Is it shaped like MTV?
It's like trying to figure out how that works.
That was a 1-star review from IMDb. Hello there, and welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm your host, Andrew, joined as always by Ryan.
My favorite MTV VJ was Dan Cochise, I think. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember them. Their names are like, Kurt Loder was cool.
I don't think I ever actually really watched MTV.
Yeah. Because you're like, what, 28? What the hell are you?
I don't know. And Steven.
My favorite MTV VJ was none of them because I couldn't name a single one if I tried.
I don't remember.
I used to know, what was
Only
Downtown Julie Brown.
You had like Road Rules or whatever. Or Real World? Real World, that was it.
Yeah, Real World.
Did they have the skater one where they like they showed all the basically all the skaters like busting it all the time? I can't even remember what.
I can't remember if that sounds more like
MTV2.
I don't know.
Or like
I never had
trying to be
to
edgy
MTV.
or something,
Yeah.
you know, to get in on
I was
the
an MTV
market.
kid.
All right, so welcome to the show. We're not talking about MTV this week. This week we are discussing the 2001 jukebox musical Moulin Rouge, starring Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, John Leguizamo, Jim Broadbent, and Richard Roxburgh. And it is directed by Baz Luhrmann.
Baz
Luhrmann.
That is Johnny Legs, isn't it?
Oh,
Johnny Legs is in
I
this.
forgot about that. I don't know why that went right past me.
How could
watching it.
You saw the movie and saw his beautiful face and didn't go, there's my boy Johnny Legs.
He's Toulouse-Lautrec.
He's in makeup.
Ewan McGregor is right there.
He is a gorgeous Ewan McGregor. But Johnny Legs is there.
This is like peak Ewan McGregor.
Sure.
Yeah, just 100%. So before we kind of get into it, we just have a little bit of housekeeping, I guess.
Yeah.
It is Romance Month now.
Love Month.
Not
It's Love Month.
Love is
I
in the
refuse
air.
to call it this name. So it's Romance Month. We have a great lineup of episodes for you this coming month.
What kind of lineup?
A great lineup?
There we go.
I said great lineup.
That's what he said.
Oh,
What'd
did
you
he?
hear?
Not what I heard.
We have a bad lineup of episodes to cover for you.
Miserable content. Get ready.
Terrible.
That's great.
So we did our best to try and hit, I'm going to say, a bunch of different genres for this month.
A wide spectrum.
So we have romance, comedy, tragedy, melodrama, star-crossed lovers, just you name it. We tried to
greatest
fit
hits.
it
So
in.
that's just Moulin Rouge.
I mean, technically, yes. Well, we also have musicals, which is this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we also,
We're going to do 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Get excited for that. We're going to do
Your Name. And we're going to do The Notebook.
The Notebook.
The Notebook. Buckle up, because I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Steven
I'm
watches
looking
it every
forward to this.
weekend?
No.
Oh.
But I have seen it, which I'm kind of surprised y'all haven't. But this is the film that set every woman's expectations just way off course in the 2000s.
Well, the key was I was single when The Notebook came out, so just not going to happen. Yeah. Oh, you still... I don't know if that's braver or sadder.
No, my college roommate was like, I want to understand what's going on with the women here. We're gonna watch this to know why.
You picture you two guys in there with notebooks
Gotta
just
do
writing stuff down.
research.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about Moulin Rouge, 2001. Here's a quick synopsis of the film. A poor bohemian poet in the 1890s, excuse me, I almost got that wrong, in 1890s Paris falls for a beautiful courtesan and nightclub star coveted by a jealous duke.
Yeah.
Sums it up.
That's about it.
Good old 1899.
Period. And people sing.
Yep.
A lot.
This was directed by Baz Luhrmann, who did Romeo and Juliet, Romeo plus Juliet, and Elvis, which is the most recent one that he did. He actually doesn't have a lot of
Not a
films
ton of
under
films.
his
Did
belt.
he
but
do Chicago? Who did
no,
Chicago?
he did Australia.
Australia, okay.
But yeah, like he really doesn't have a lot of films. He's only done
city
like
to a
maybe like
country.
8.
Yeah.
I think. This was written by Baz Luhrmann and Craig Pierce, music by Craig Armstrong, but it's a jukebox musical, so he really just did a lot of the composing, and everything else is basically pulled from popular media.
Right, yeah.
At the time,
Music, yeah. Who did Great Gatsby?
He did.
That was
Baz
Baz.
Luhrmann did,
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
So this had a budget of $50 million. Had a
Pretty low, actually.
Yeah, pretty low.
For the amount of stars in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
A worldwide take of 184 million.
A worldwide domestic take.
Domestic was 57 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so it did good. It clearly made its money back.
Yeah.
And it actually won quite a bit of awards for the season it was in.
Yeah.
And it won Best Art Direction at the Academy Awards, also Best Costume
It
Design.
felt like this movie cleaned up.
It got nominated by a ton
It got nominated
of
for a
stuff,
lot, yeah.
Best Motion Picture and Musical Comedy, and Best Original Score, and Best Actress for Nicole Kidman. Unfortunately, Ian McGregor did not win anything, but
Snubbed.
Rude.
he's still my dreamboat.
That is who
That's the only award he needs.
Andrew had to cheat on Tom Cruise with anyone.
It would be you and McGregor.
It's just Moulin Rouge, Ian McGregor.
Oh, you don't.
So not train spotting you.
When he
McGregor
shows up
raise
as
on
Obi-Wan, you're like
heroin.
Yeah, I don't like the rat
Pops
tail.
up with the hello there, and you're like, no.
Oh, I don't know. The bearded Obi-Wan.
I mean, yeah, sure, he's
Yeah.
fine.
hot stuff. Rat tail Obi-Wan. No,
says-
that's
actually,
just
a man
awkward
with
face.
a beard. No bias
So actually, I'm
over
just
here.
going to go ahead
None.
and drop in a little bit of quick trivia for this.
do it.
So they actually had to cut the filming short for this film by basically a month or two because he was slated to be Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones.
Had to
And
go
that
weird.
was when it was about to be filmed, and they kind of were running long.
Right.
They're like, hey, we gotta finish this up now.
Got to wrap it up.
Yeah, so
George
there
Lucas
was-
shows up on set.
Are you going to finish this musical very soon? Because I feel like I will need you and his rat tail back.
He needs to grow a beard.
But yeah, so I'm curious of what you guys think. I know this is Ryan's first time seeing the film.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
I didn't
I've-
realize this is Ryan's first. I guess he
Yeah.
doesn't like musicals.
He doesn't like
No.
musicals, so I'm curious at
No
where
music in
your-
his soul.
He's a musician.
just a-
He's
I know!
the only musician in the
That's what's funny.
It just sounds like a heart flat line. He just, doo, that's my soul. It's just a single
He's the
tone.
most musically accomplished of the
1,000
three of us.
hertz, single tone.
All right, so what do you think?
I kind of want to go last just because
Sure.
I would like to set up my history with musicals and then go into my
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah.
on this
Okay,
because I
that's
think
fine.
perspective is important.
Oh,
so
man,
why don't you
we're
guys
gonna
jump
get
into
a
it?
dissertation over here?
Steven.
I guess it's my turn to go. So I have not seen this film in a long time. Probably not. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I saw it not long after. And I remembered it being really fast and a bit of a drug trip for a lot of times.
For most of it, yeah.
Yeah.
My memories are but a pale imitation of what watching this film is like. Holy cow, man!
Yeah.
Like there's Edgar Wright levels of choppy
Of, like-
cuts,
like-
and then there's this.
So here's the thing. I have seen this movie appear on a lot of like worst editing in films lists before.
Interesting.
I've
Would
never
not
seen it.
shock me.
And
Yeah.
after watching this, there's a few snes that gave me a literal headache. I had to
Yeah.
stop the movie. Maybe
wow.
it's because I'm a video editor and it's what I do, and so I'm watching going, no, no, no.
Leave the camera alone.
Yeah, but because there's some cuts that are like it's under a second. It's like cut, and I'm like, no, no.
It's such a
Yeah.
cacophony of sound
Particularly
and color.
at the beginning of the
big
the
intro
movie,
into
yeah.
like Moulin Rouge. Well, both the intro, but then also the introduction of like the Can Girls
Yes.
as well. Those
It's a
two
lot.
sequences are just like, holy cow! I am getting motion sickness from this camera.
Yeah.
I think I wrote down in my notes something like, I can't tell if like this is what it would be like to be on psychedelic drugs, or if this movie would make perfect sense if you're on psychedelic drugs.
Or the flip side is this is also because we have kind of a neophyte character entering this world. This is kind of his exposure to it, and just
just like the sensory
pounding
overload.
rapid of sensory overload coming
yeah.
in. So from that perspective, I can see it.
Yeah.
But from a perspective of me sitting on the couch at home, it's like, slow down, take a deep breath. The camera can sit still for more than half a second. It'll be okay. Because there is so much cool choreography going on in the
Right.
scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And I never get to just watch
Appreciate it,
because
yeah.
the camera is just whip, whop, whip, whop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it does get back. It does get to a much more manageable pacing
It
of
slows
editing
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
after you get through about like the first like 15 minutes of the film.
And again, it's almost
Well, that-
it's the
There's a couple of times where it ramps back up.
It does.
But it does settle in a lot.
Yes.
What is McGregor's name in this?
Christian.
Is that really his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I would have been very wrong.
What was your name for him?
Nathan? I don't know. Nathaniel? I don't know where I was going. Paul,
Jack. A
Mary.
good, strong American French name. Wait, what?
Well, he's English, but whatever.
Well,
Same thing.
No, it's not.
He's a British invader.
Anyways, continue.
But it does kind of fall off of that neophyte pace of like the sensory overload introduction, which is good. It's just at that point I'm already like so shell shocked.
It does take a little bit to get used to
it is
the
just
pacing of the film.
And the rest of the film's pacing is also, it feels disjointed coming down off of that high, I think. Where it's almost like, man, this feels really slow. Like, where are we going? Like, are we going to do anything now? you built up my ADHD, and then you're just like, now stare at the same sequence for 30 seconds. Like, I don't wanna.
yeah, it's like you can't figure out. Like,
I can't settle down.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steven, but I mean, do you like it?
So I think I like it less having watched it now than I did before. If you asked me before, I'm like, oh yeah, Moulin Rouge is it's a cool. They did a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
The costuming is spectacular. The blending of songs is really great.
Yes.
The choreography of the big dance numbers is just kind of absurd, especially when you consider the fact that they are either moving the camera and resetting these shots over and over again, or they're running multiple cameras and coordinating that with the choreography.
I'm pretty sure it was the first one.
I'm almost positive it is too, because the angles, there's nowhere else for someone else for the camera to be and not just be a dude in the middle of it, which just that whole sequence and the logistics of that is just an insane accomplishment to me. Right?
Oh, for sure.
From where I'm sitting here, there's no moment where I'm like, I could storyboard that.
Well, and especially too, like when you look at older movies like like stuff from like the 50s and 60s where they had the big choreographed dance numbers and stuff. It's like that, but with camera rigs that can go up on the ceiling and so it's
that was all they did.
Evolution of that kind of stuff.
Like back in the 50s, it was, hey, here's a straight on shot.
Right.
We're gonna rise up a little. And we're going to come back down. That was enough.
But you're going to be impressed with everything we're doing.
Just the huge scale of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I really do like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
And I also agree that it is incredibly fast-paced, and a lot of the editing is very jarring, even for me. And I know what's coming, and I know, how it's kind of, paced and stuff. The first I'll say quarter of this movie is very tough to watch if you're not ready for it.
Right. Yeah.
And it can be, and that can, I think just because it's so weird and so out there that it's very much oh, I don't like this, I'm out.
Right.
And you just turn your mind off, and then that's it for the rest of the film. And I do think that this film has a lot of really good things going for it. I think Nicole Kidman and Ian McGregor did a fantastic job as the leads.
And they put on a pretty good performance.
They do.
For sure, yeah.
And
especially Kidman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, you also have I really do like the jukebox feel where you have they did a good job meshing a lot of these songs together. Particularly some of the later ones. I think the best one of the film is honestly Like a Virgin. Just flip-flopped, instead of being girls, it's actually guys.
Yeah.
And it's incredible just because it's really, really funny, and it also had the two people that are singing it are great.
The Roxanne.
No, I mean Tango de Roxanne is
one, it's already a fantastic song, but then
is.
just the actual stakes that are going on when it's done.
Yeah, when it's done, it's very, very good.
It's just
But yeah, this is definitely one of those films where I'll probably watch it at least once a year.
Yeah.
And I love the music. I've listened to the music for decades now. And I remember the first time I watched this movie, my friend at school, he basically gave me a burned DVD.
Oh, those days.
Back in the day.
He was like, hey, man, you just need to watch this. And I had no idea what I was watching. I watched it on my computer with my little computer speakers.
Fire up Winamp real quick here.
And it's definitely one of those where it just blew my mind just because it was I'd never seen anything like this ever. And it's such a specific style that Baz Luhrmann does, because he really does a lot of really quick cuts, but then he loves having his characters superimposed on other things, on other things.
A lot of layers to the
so many
imagery.
layers for the visual effects.
And there are a few sorry, not to cut you off.
No, go
there
ahead.
are a couple of little like visual sight gags that are done, just that little random bits that almost have a Wes Anderson feel to them.
Yeah.
Like the gun hitting the Eiffel Tower towards
Oh,
the
yeah.
end, where it's just like, bing, or whatever.
Like, there's a moment where all the
hats.
guys throw up the hats, and then the hats fly up above Paris and stuff like that. It's just so over the top ridiculous that you like the visual style fits that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious what you think. Right,
Yeah.
because you don't like musicals. I love musicals. I grew up with it.
Ryan, think.
So I don't like musicals, and I think this movie is okay. So that should say quite a bit, to be honest.
We're done here. All right,
To be quite honest, that should say quite a bit.
Good job.
Right there. So like my thoughts on musicals, right? Like here's where I'm at. I have like not a big affinity to musicals because that's just not my style of entertainment. It's not something I've ever loved. Now there's obviously
Ryan hates Disney. Confirmed.
No. So that's the weird thing
hates
is
song and dance.
when it comes to Disney movies,
He hates happiness.
These cats out here
All of it's
dancing. I hate it. Cats don't dance.
like Disney movies, Muppet movies, love them. Like,
okay.
can't get enough of. And like in terms of like the musical
Like
aspects
the
of them.
animated ones?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, outside of Muppets are live action. but-
Yeah,
Muppets are animated.
even stuff like
Except Muppet Babies.
like Mary Poppins.
So you like that?
Like Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka.
So
stuff
what,
like that.
What I'm hearing is that you like diegetic musicals.
It's-
to where
it's less that,
they
it's-
don't go into their own pocket universe.
I like musicals that basically are absurd and feel like a musical. I think my problem is with more modern musicals where they shoot it like a serious drama film and then someone just busts out into song.
in the middle of the street.
That feels
and everyone
very
stares at them.
cringy to me. It doesn't feel very like, it feels cheesy
But
to
like,
me.
what modern musicals are you talking about? Because there's
La
I mean,
La
okay,
Land.
so to continue, it's not just modern musicals.
Yeah.
It's I don't like a lot of the style of singing that people do in a lot of musicals. The stage style of singing, like where you're trying to hit the back row, that kind of stuff. And I'm also very particular about vocalists, like their song, the sound of their voice,
Yeah, the timbre.
And it's not even like a thing I can like scientifically put my finger on. It's just kind of like saying I don't like the color green.
No, I get it. I mean,
Why don't you like the color green? I don't know. I don't like that guy's voice. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the same. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like Rush because they don't like the lead
Geddy
singer.
Lee's voice. Yeah. So it's a similar thing where like if I go to a musical and I listen
His
to
voice or people not liking
Not liking Rush.
Oh yeah, yeah. Get on board. Listen to Rush. 2112. Awesome album. Moving Pictures too.
We're not old.
Check
Yeah,
it out.
Movie Pictures is fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's if I go to a musical and I don't like the main person's voice, and now
gonna be
that
tough,
person's
yeah.
singing 8 songs in this movie,
just grating.
this is going to be grating on me. So that's usually my problem. I listen to a lot of instrumental music, and I listen to a lot of music with singers, but it's like I'm very like hot and cold on if I like
I get it.
someone.
And
so
that's totally fair.
yeah. So to say that, right, my thoughts on this are that. So my question is, did Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor
Yes.
actually sing their parts?
Yes, they
Their
did all of
voices
it.
are great.
Yes.
I loved both
they
of their
do
voices.
really well
They do really
singing.
good. They both act incredibly. Johnny Legs is in this movie.
Yep.
John Leguizamo, for those not cool enough to know him as Johnny Legs.
It's funny. I have trivia about that, but we'll get to it
Like
after the spoiler.
any
alarm.
movie that's got Johnny Legs in it gets
Interesting.
points in my book, right?
Yeah.
My problems stem more from it. I also have a thing about covers of songs.
Yeah.
For me, the covers in this movie are 50-50. 50% of them, I'm like, all right, cool. The other 50%, I was like, no, this ain't it. Don't ruin this song.
Wrong approach.
No.
Wrong approach.
Yeah, wrong approach.
Abort,
no.
abort.
And so for me, it was a roller coaster ride, especially when they start blending them together. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Oh, nope, don't. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, now we're
So,
like,
and I'll definitely say this too,
Yeah.
because when I was growing up and I watched this movie for the first time,
Yeah.
a lot of these songs, this was the first time I heard these songs. Because
okay.
I didn't grow up with a lot of like, I'll say like popular modern music from
Right.
like that era.
The devil's music.
Well, not,
Yeah.
I had heard Elton John, but I'd never heard your song until I heard it in Moulin Rouge, and then I went back and listened to your song for Elton John.
See, I feel like that's a totally different perspective.
It is,
Yeah.
because like, and that again, I understand that Like when it came out, it hit at a really specific time in my life and that kind of thing. So it's going to completely like warp how my mind
era.
So perceives it. Yeah. So I like the story of what happens. Again, I like the performances, especially the dramatic scenes.
Yes.
Like Nicole Kidman really
just kills it. Just dominates.
So all that's great. I think for me, the editing was a problem. Like it definitely, it's not only the beginning, like you said, it's really the first quarter when they have their first interaction in the elephant and all that, and everything's like sped up and hyper. Like I was like, okay, some of that was comedic and funny, and then it like crossed a threshold into like, I'm uncomfortable. Like calm down, please. This is driving me nuts. Like just keep the shot for longer than 3/4 of a second, please. Then like, like where the story goes and like how it ends and that kind of stuff all was fine. I think for me, the visuals, I think if I had seen this in 2001, I would appreciate it a lot more. Yeah, just because there are some bad green screen moments and some like weird layering like you're talking about that like I get what they were going for. It's we have to do this on 2001 computers that like it's not fair to judge it by today's standards. I just feel like
it's a whole different experience now than what you had back then. Yeah. And it really is like very much a product of its time.
It is for sure. Yeah. For better or for worse. It's just like you got to know that. And I knew it going in. Yeah. So I think it's a okay movie. I don't want to say good. I mean, I don't know that I would recommend this to someone if you are a fan of musicals and you're a fan of Baz Luhrmann. Yeah. If you're in that camp, you've probably already seen it.
You've definitely already seen it if you're a fan of Baz Luhrmann.
Right. So like,
there's so many choices here.
If you're younger and maybe you haven't watched his older stuff like Romeo plus Juliet, yeah, check it out. I think if you like The Great Gatsby and some of the other things he's done, you would probably fall right in. And to be clear, it's not a bad movie. It's just like it's not quite my jam, and the editing is a little hectic.
Well, and for me, like I would absolutely recommend it just from the level of like if you really like, if you ever watch like Rock of Ages or any other kind of like jukebox musical, like this is definitely going to be up your alley. Like there's a lot of really fun stuff in there, and Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor just absolutely dominate the screen whenever they're on there. Yeah. It's really hard to kind of fault it other than that, just because like I think their performances are so strong that it really does help lift the rest of the film that probably would have been mediocre otherwise.
Oh, if Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor weren't in this movie,
terrible
this
film.
Is terrible.
Mediocre's not in it.
Yeah, like they elevate it on another level.
Yeah.
You don't have to put on that red light again for more content.
Oh, boy.
You can just go to spoilersintendedpodcast.com for all our previous episodes, along with links to things like our Discord, socials, and Patreon.
Yeah, check us out on Discord. We have a great community over there. We have a lot of different channels. We talk about like what we're cooking, what our pets are doing.
What we're listening to.
Yeah, like this
right here. I want to see your pets.
Yeah, we got also a lot of fun on Discord. It's a great online community. It's all free. Come join us.
We also have socials. We have Instagram and Facebook. We'd love for you to toss us a share, give us a like, even toss us a camera, follow us, whatever. Yeah. Just because that is where we have all of our latest releases and everything, news, whatever for the podcast. We'd really appreciate it if you just give us that thumbs up. To the night. And we are back from the spoiler wall. We should just keep this playing because now we can listen to Ewan McGregor sing. But yeah, so we're back from the spoiler wall. Yeah. I have there's actually quite a bit of trivia for this. I'm not going to do it all at once.
Yeah.
Oh boy, big deep breath, Micro Machine Man speed. Let's go.
Nah, just dull it out when it makes sense.
So talking about just kind of music here, Come What May was written by David Bearwald for Romeo plus Juliet in 1996, but it wasn't used in Moulin Rouge 2001. It was newly written for basically the stage show by Christian. and or like in the film.
In the film, yeah.
It is the only completely original song in the entire film. However, because it was written for another film, the Oscars wouldn't allow them to be under the Best Song Award.
They have such
That's
weird,
so stupid.
like the
so
whole.
dumb.
Have you heard about the Barbie thing? About they forced it to be under adapted
And
screenplay.
it's not adapted from anything.
It's not adapted for anything. It was a plastic box with a doll in it. What do you on the back? It's like Barbie has a sister named Skipper. How is that adapted?
Yeah, totally ridiculous.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like the Oscars continue to have just these weird hinky rules that like keep certain things out of.
But yeah, so they basically snubbed Come What May out of being a Best Original Song contender, which it definitely would have been nominated for.
Right.
I think it's a fantastic
I mean,
song.
as many nominations as this got across the board, if it was allowed, that would have been nominated minimum. I'm not going to guarantee a win, but minimum nominated.
This moment where I was like, "What is this? I don't remember."
I also had that moment too.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is this one from? I don't."
Yeah, is this an Elton John one also? You know, and I'm like having to think about. I think I've heard this. Yeah.
And then another musical note here. In the Like a Virgin number, Jim Broadbent's voice, who's Harold Ziegler, is dubbed by an opera singer, Anthony Way, mimicking Broadbent's own vocal performance.
Got him.
The floor was rubbed in
Take that,
Coca-Cola
AI.
so the dancers wouldn't slip.
What? So sticky.
This segment is Richard Roxburgh's favorite experience from the production. It took a week to film.
I imagine.
Can you imagine the ants in that set?
Not only that, imagine
Coke everywhere.
the live mic on set just. As everyone's stepping around,
Just sticking on the floor.
just every step is.
Oh, cool.
And then,
Why did you have to bring that up?
yeah,
That's all I can think about.
I'm going to think about that laying in bed tonight.
Gross.
And then one more thing about musical numbers. Filming was halted for 2 weeks in November of 1999 after Nicole Kidman fractured 2 ribs and injured her knee while rehearsing for a dance routine for the film. Many of the scenes where she is only seen from the chest up, including a real actress, were shot while she was in a wheelchair.
Oh wow!
Okay.
And she didn't realize that she had injured anything or damaged her hip for 5 days, and she kept filming because she thought she had pulled something.
Right. She just thought it was like a torn muscle.
Yeah,
just
torn
tweaked
muscle or whatever.
something,
Yeah. But yeah.
Trooper.
Yeah, I mean, she
crazy.
she really sold out for the role.
What was she doing?
I mean, when you're married to Tom Cruise at the time, you'll
have a little crazy.
do whatever.
Apparently it was because they were basically redoing the shot so many times for the sparkling diamond
like the
scene
repetitive.
to where she was kept being lifted up on her hips,
yeah.
and it basically like hurt her ribs. And
something.
that,
Yeah.
Well, you got all your weights being compressed in. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Just kind of reading up on some of the stuff. We can also talk about John Leguizamo. They used various tricks to make John Leguizamo legs appear shorter. Some shots of him are of his stand-in, who was the correct height, while others he walked on his knees in special leg braces, wearing blue socks so they could cut it out digitally. Leguizamo did the entire climactic scene from a squatting position to give him greater mobility in his role. So when he's like dressed up as as the sitar, and consequently he had to endure several weeks of physical therapy afterwards.
I bet so, because imagine being in a squat for like 12 hours while you're shooting.
Hours, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like this movie's wild.
Yes, it's wild.
Like, it's the thing that I like, and this is, I think, a good indicator of all like most general tragedies, because it's definitely a tragedy, is they tell you right at the start she dies.
Yeah,
and by the time you get to the end of the film, like, oh no, she dies.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, she dies. Yeah. No, I was kind of waiting for it at some points because they did the thing where they show it.
They do a couple like things where I'm like, oh, maybe she gets shot. Or like because they're like there's always the question of like the henchman or the Duke himself that is going to pull the trigger and then she's going to get in the way, but then they just bring it all the way back and she's like, no, she's got tuberculosis, she dies.
Right. Yeah. Nope, it was consumption.
Yeah, which is just tuberculosis.
Yeah, TB.
Yeah.
Just the old way of saying it.
Just the old way of saying it. Well, I looked it up. I was like, what is consumption again? Because I feel like I do this about once every couple years when a movie deals with consumption. And I go, what was consumption again? And I look it up and I'm like, oh yeah, tuberculosis.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what else are y'all's thoughts for this now that we can kind of talk about it?
So like again, I think the bones of the plot of like where it goes is your typical tragedy.
Oh, for sure.
But it's still enjoyable to watch because of Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, Satine and Christian. Like for me, it was the because of their acting, you really buy into their love.
Yeah,
and they
have really good on-screen chemistry.
Oh, for sure. And you also buy into that like. It's a trope of like you have to push him away. It's what's best for him. Or, Harry and the Hendersons. You have to put him out in the woods.
It's honestly hard.
Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons. Where they make him walk back into the woods.
Oh my
God.
Of all the references,
so you have that moment. Obviously, whenever she comes back to the apartment, she tells him, it's like. He offered me everything, you know, and then it hurts then, but then whenever he comes back in and like he throws the money on the ground and he starts walking away,
sequence.
It just stabs you right in the heart.
Oh yeah. Because you're like, you're going to regret this. Don't do it. Here's your money. I'm like, no.
She's dying right now, man.
And then I had that moment. I was like, it's in the middle of the play. What are you doing?
You're ruining the production, sir.
I really I like how they actually did that to where it still felt like it was part of the play. And it obviously, it's mirroring the story that he wrote was mirroring the real life.
I felt bad for Harry Ziegler in that moment when he's like trying to improv what's going on. He's like staring at his whole life flashing before his eyes. Oh, it's the sitar. You can't tell. What am I doing?
He shaved his beard.
Yeah. It's go ahead.
I kind of wish he had kept with that even after. And a gun. Where did this mysterious device come from? If he stuck with it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll definitely say that I really like Jim Broadbent as
he does great.
Harry Ziegler. He really does steal the show.
Facial expressions, because they do, especially at the start with the can introduction, they do a lot of close up on his face.
Yeah,
like when they're flipping back and forth between him and Nicole Kidman talking in the midst of the dancers, his expressions are so good.
They're wild.
His face just bounces around.
And I've seen him in so many different things, but I've never seen him in a role quite like this, where he's so playing the ridiculously over animated.
Yeah.
What else
I've seen him in a couple of TV shows.
He was in Harry Potter.
He was in Harry Potter.
I'm putting him on the spot.
I'll have to look it up.
Slughorn?
Yeah.
It's a British TV show. I'll look it up real quick.
So one of my favorite moments with him in this film is whenever they're in the elephant and he notices that something's up in the elephant, so he comes down.
Oh, he's like, what? He's creeping? He's creeping all the time?
He's creeping, then he comes down, and then Satine's basically just like, hey, the emergency rehearsal. He's so keen to invest. And it's like exactly the type of character that he is.
He was in Game of Thrones. He was one of the Archmaesters. I'm trying to remember his.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he was in.
That's not a British show at all. You lied to me.
No, but he was a British character. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Gangs of New York. He's in that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, it's been a long time since I've seen Gangs of New York.
I don't think I've seen it since it came out. Actually,
it's a good movie.
So during the elephant scene, whenever.
The initial, you gotta be more specific.
So whenever Christian is doing the poetry reading at the beginning and Nicole Kidman's just writhing around on the ground.
Watching that now is just like, man, is this just part of being married to Tom Cruise? Or did she go off, after every take she went off and just took a slug of tequila?
So all of that was improvised. That wasn't in the script.
Oh man, can you imagine? Okay, hold on. Can you imagine? None of that's in the script, and Ewan McGregor just standing there, and Nicole Kidman is just writhing,
losing her mind.
You're just like, what is going on?
What I love, the idea in my head, it's like the set, the guy holding the boom mic, the best grip.
Standing there like, what?
These guys are going, what? And Baz Luhrmann goes, more energy next time. What was that? Stop phoning it in. Come on. Let's over the top. Color, action.
Yeah, the frenetic pace of the film, of basically just how it's directed, Baz Luhrmann just has a very specific style, because it obviously shows up in Romeo and Juliet, he kind of tones it down a little bit in Elvis because it's more of a biopic at that one.
Can you imagine that? Just thinking about in a non-digital shooting era, right? You're shooting this on film. The level of splicing it takes to get these kinds of edits.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God. We have 15 different reels. I need 3 frames from that one, 6 from this. We'll do 12 here for spice. I need 1 frame from that. Camera number 4.
Give me a full 24 on that one.
Yeah, let's do a second.
Really hang on that one. For a second?
Yeah.
There's an editor. I need to look up who actually did the editing.
Yes, give me his name and his address.
How much cocaine did he go through? What was the budget?
It's funny too because when I was writing the episode today, I looked it up and I was like, I don't need to put the editor down.
You better have.
I was so wrong.
You were sorely mistaken.
We were going to talk about that editing. Let me tell you.
So, what else can we talk about while he's looking up the
music? Your favorite songs, go.
Okay.
Ooh, I mean, Come What May is
Come What May is incredible. Yeah.
Your song is well done. I enjoy that one. I mean, Roxanne, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say Roxanne probably stands out to me
mostly because I mean, most of the songs I think are well placed in terms of like the emotional impact of what they are. Obviously, the can thing is just insanity.
It's just ridiculous.
It's pure insanity. But like Come What May, Your Song, and then Roxanne, like those all hit emotional beats.
I think Your Song might be one of my favorites.
And really Roxanne really hits obviously at the emotional pinnacle
at the right moment of the film.
Oh, quick note: the necklace worn by Nicole Kidman in that scene, whenever she's being like. During the song, was made of real diamonds and platinum and was the most expensive piece of jewelry ever made for a film.
Wow.
The Stefano Canturi necklace was made with 1,300 diamonds, weighing a total of 134 carats and is worth an estimated of $1 million.
I want it to sparkle.
Just make it out of cubic zirconium. Why? What the heck? It's a movie. It's 2001. You're not even shooting in high def. Like
the studio's like, "Where's all the budget, Boz?" And Boz's like, "You see, we have this necklace."
Yeah, he's wearing it. You don't understand.
It's important to me.
So Jill,
precious.
Jill Bilcock was the editor. Although still relatively unknown, Jill Bilcock is one of the world's leading editors, working with directing heavyweights such as Sam Mendes, Baz Luhrmann, and Fred Schepeschi.
Sure.
Yeah. An award-winning editor. He was in Australia. He was born in Australia.
Okay. I mean, it could have been Baz Luhrmann going like, cut now, and cut now. Not now, then. Cut.
I mean, just keep props to that guy for not going insane.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where it's like, how do you survive just a day? Like, you're like driving into work. You're like, all right, Boz is going to be Boz. You just gotta
I want to see the Final Cut timeline of that.
Right. Boz is probably like, I want it hectic. I want it crazy. I'll give it to you. He'll never love this. Play. It's perfect. Wait, what?
he's like, no. It'd be great if we could just do one more cut right. What the what?
Yeah. I just a few more cuts and we're there. More?
I was trying to get fired.
But yeah, I definitely agree that I think your song is probably my favorite out of the film. Like Tango de Roxanne is great. I really enjoy Like a Virgin just because it's just so ridiculous.
Bit of it,
yeah.
I don't really like the song itself, but whenever you have both of them just singing at each other at the end and just like full operatic like exposure, it's just
the
ridiculous. Yeah, it's just so absurd.
Well, because I don't really like their version of the song necessarily, but yeah, you're right. It's everything around it kind of elevates it. Yeah. In terms of the side characters, right? Like outside of, we've talked about Toulouse and Zidler, the Duke, Richard Roxburgh.
I like him in this.
He's think great. The only other thing I've ever really seen him in is Mission Impossible 2.
So he has been in, hold on, I'm going to have to look it up.
He actually does, he plays a very good bad guy.
He does. But like, again, it's kind of the same as like Jim Broadbent of like, I've seen him in other stuff. I've never seen him play
this unhinged,
such a wild, like character. So like, I thought he did great.
He's Count Dracula in the Van Helsing film.
That's right. Yes. He is, isn't he?
Because I remember seeing that. I looked him up.
Oh my gosh.
Like, man, this guy looks familiar. Why does he look familiar? And I was like, Mission Impossible 2. I don't know who he is. I can't remember who he is in that.
He's the guy that they put the bomb in the mask.
Yeah. But then I flipped to the next one and I was like, Van Helsing. Oh, he's Dracula.
God, he I've forgotten so much about that movie that doesn't involve Kate Beckinsale.
You don't need to remember much.
All right,
we should watch that and do a commentary.
We should do a commentary.
We should. So I've got 2 more pieces of trivia, and then we can start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So Heath Ledger lost this role for Christian.
Yeah.
When it was determined he was too young to be a romantic interest for Nicole Kidman.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah, probably because I mean.
This was 2001.
So he would have 2021.
Yeah.
She's in her 30s.
Yeah, he was so angry at Baz Luhrmann that years later he refused to work with him in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Australia, the film, not the country.
I thought like Baz Luhrmann
came to your country.
Gets off the plane. Yes, I will make a movie here. And Heath Ledger goes, just like a boomerang, I come back around and I say no to you. That's a terrible Heath Ledger impression. Sure. Terrible Australian accent. I apologize to everyone in Australia.
Heath Ledger's running down the runway with a snake to throw at Baz.
He's got a koala on his back.
Drop bear.
And then the final one, which is the weirdest. Originally, the Green Fairy was going to be a long-haired muscle man with a giant sitar, and Ozzy Osbourne was hired to provide the vocals. Eventually, it was changed to the current Tinkerbell incarnation.
Kylie Minogue.
Yeah. But Osborne still gives the voice of the fairy's guttural scream when it turns evil.
Okay,
that's amazing because I was really confused.
So when I watched it, and the guttural scream happens, I go, okay, I guess they digitally did something, or like they, And then when I was looking on IMDb at who played what, I came across and I was going through the cast. It's like Kylie Minogue, the Green Fairy, and right next to it, Ozzy Osbourne, the Green Fairy, and I was like, was there 2 green fairies?
Did I miss a different fairy?
Did I? In all the chaos, was there a second fairy that I didn't see that was in there?
That's wild. The Euro trip green fairy versus this green fairy. It's like, wait, hold on. Did I just miss this one?
Yeah.
One more thing, too. I do have to shout out the unconscious Argentinian, Jacek Koman, who's a
narcoleptic.
He's Polish and
not even Argentinian.
He did a fantastic job.
Oh, I thought he was great. Yeah.
And he did great as the lead for Tango de Roxanne. So of course,
he did. He did really good.
But that sounds like we're kind of wrapping up here. So before we go, we do have to talk about our Patreon.
Promote that Patreon.
Just $1. You get access to all of our bonus content, commentaries, bonus episodes, something. Steven.
Well, I mean,
you get Steven for $1.
No, hold on, no.
$2?
But Steven's very cheap.
Think about it, though.
New tier. You can't Steven tier.
You can't even go up.
For $3, you can get Steven today.
Oh, my God. You can't even go to a Coke machine and get a Coke for $1 these days.
The kids these days don't understand.
Does Steven get free shipping?
We have to poke holes in the box this time when we send Steven. We have to remember that. $1 is a great value, and you get so much content.
We love the return on investment here.
Yeah, and we do love the support. We love all our patrons.
Yeah, access to all our bonus episodes.
Yeah, you get one bonus episode a month guaranteed. It's going to be something fun. It could be
a little wacky, a little weird.
Yeah, it's different format than the shows.
Yeah. It could be game shows. It could be a discussion about comfort food movies. You never know.
Yeah. Sometimes we just fight presidents.
It happens.
Sometimes.
As one would want
just
to do.
Things you got to do sometimes,
Yeah. Yep. All right. So, as always, follow us on social, leave us a review wherever you're listening now, and share us with a friend. That sounds like all the time we have. So, until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Steven.
And every spoiler was intended.